What's up guys, this is Darkbblue. You can parry in Sekiro and you can deflect in Warlong. They look so similar, have you ever wondered what is the difference between these two games? This question can only be answered by players like me who have played both of them into depth. Don't forget to like and subscribe, let's dive right into it. Let's first start with a slight difference. In these two games, can your attacks influence the behaviors of enemies? In Warlong, some enemies can be staggered by you or they will try to block your attacks, but they are the minority and usually are the weaker enemies. The stronger opponents, on the contrary, won't be influenced by your attack. For example, now you can see this boss doing a combo including 2 or 3 attacks. You may try to do a light attack between these 2 attacks, but this makes no difference to his behavior. He will finish the whole combo anyway, so this is a typical situation in Warlong. Your attack won't influence the behavior of enemies. But what about in Sekiro? I believe this is one of the most challenging bosses in this game. But as you can see, although he is doing a combo, as soon as I try to fight back, he stops current combo and parries my attack instead. This is exactly the typical case in Sekiro. Except only a small number of beast enemies, you can use your attacks to interrupt enemies' combo and force them to parry, and this is a way of influencing enemies' behavior with your attacks. So this is just a slight difference between Warlong and Sekiro. In Warlong, your attacks won't influence enemies' behavior, and in Sekiro, things are exactly the opposite. Maybe you are thinking, well, this is just a small difference, but in fact, it eventually leads to a huge difference to typical combat styles in the two games. In Warlong, since you cannot influence enemies' behavior, your only choice is to stand there and deflect a full combo. Therefore, you have to memorize the full combo and when to deflect. Of course, this applies to every combo that enemy uses. All in all, in Warlong, combats are dominated by enemies. This may sound a bit boring as players seem to, well, very passive, but actually, with the good design of Team Ninja, this is fun to play. Besides, since they have simplified the movesets of players, you are encouraged to pay more attention to enemies' movements. So we can see this is a typical action game, with a combat style requiring quick reaction and close observation. However, in Sekiro, combats are dominated by you. Most basically, you can control whether enemies can finish a full combo or not by fighting back immediately after parrying the first attack or not. But you can do even more. As you may have noticed, your very first attack will never be perfectly parried. When your first attack is parried, the ding sound is a bit dull, indicating this is an imperfect parry. And only when you do several attacks successively will the final attack be parried perfectly with a much clearer ding sound. This means by controlling how many attacks you do in a chain, you can actually control whether your enemies parry perfectly or imperfectly. But what's the point of doing this? Actually, after perfect and imperfect parry, enemies' movements will be different. For example, Ishin will draw his pistols in his second phase, which is a very dangerous move. But as long as you ensure he can do only imperfect parry, this move will never be used. Furthermore, you can even better control enemies' movesets by attacking only from the left or the right side. Now you know you can really dominate the combats in Sekiro. You can control whether your enemy can finish a full combo or not. You can control whether they parry perfectly or imperfectly, and you can even control what attacks they can use. As a result, although Sekiro looks like an action game, it's more like a puzzle game if you play it into depth. You don't need quick reaction and close observation. You need to only study the pattern of your enemies and control them to behave in your favor. Now, as a conclusion, Warlong and Sekiro are totally different in their essence. Warlong has inherited the style of Team Ninja's previous games. It is an action game, requiring quick reaction and close observation. But Sekiro has inherited the style of From Software Souls games. It is closer to a puzzle game than action game. Thinking rather than acting is more important. And all of our conclusions come from only a slight difference, whether your attacks can influence enemies' behavior. Of course, for an action game with in-depth designs like Wolong, it's impossible that players are not provided with means of dominating the battle. The only problem is, as an action game with in-depth designs, it requires you to be really familiar with this game and is really demanding to utilize. In Wolong, you can use spells to cause status effects accumulation, and when it is fully accumulated, status effect will be triggered, stunning the enemy in the meantime. Even enemies that cannot be staggered by your normal attacks will be stunned by status effect, so this is a possible chance for you to dominate the battle. Though this is a chance, you can see it can be hard to use. You may have to use multiple spells to cause a status effect, and causing another one while the enemy is still stunned is also a tough task. To achieve this, you have to be pretty familiar with both action system and RPG elements in this game. However, in Sekiro, you need to only decide whether to fight back at once and how many attacks you will do in a chain. Even in the most complicated cases, you need to only decide what attack to use. This is much simpler than in Wolong, and this again demonstrates the huge difference between these two games. Well, now I'd like to say, although I am comparing Wolong and Sekiro in this video, they are both brilliant games. I don't want to judge which one is better than the other, I just want to show you the most suitable ways to play them, so that you can enjoy more fun. If you like my story and if you want to draw me into depth of games, just like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you around.